Have you ever had a déjà vu so vivid it felt physical, like your body knew what was about to happen seconds before it did? Or noticed impossible synchronicities stacking back to back? Repeating numbers, the same phrase appearing everywhere, someone calling you the exact moment you thought of them? Have you felt reality glitch, time stretching, compressing, stuttering like the world skipped a frame and kept going? If you've experienced any of that, you're not crazy, you're not broken, and you're not imagining things. You're perceiving something most people are not trained to notice. And no one warned you what happens when you start noticing it. There's a reason you don't talk about this openly. At work, you keep it surface level. With friends, you laugh it off. Online, you hesitate before typing anything too honest. Because every time you've tried to explain what you feel, someone smiled politely, nodded, and moved on as if you'd crossed an invisible boundary. Over time, you learned to stay quiet. You told yourself it was stress, overthinking, coincidence, wishful thinking. It's not. What you're sensing has a name in physics, and it exists at the intersection of quantum consciousness, the quantum field, the subconscious mind, and something science still struggles to discuss without discomfort: the observer effect. Here's the pattern researchers keep encountering without agreeing on what it means. When awareness shifts, reality behaves differently. Not symbolically, not metaphorically, measurably. For decades, mainstream physics assumed reality existed independently of perception, that the universe ran like a machine, the same way whether anyone was watching or not. But experiments kept violating that assumption. In controlled conditions, particles behaved one way when unobserved, and another the moment measurement occurred. In some cases, observation made after an event altered outcomes before it. These results were replicated, peer-reviewed, debated, and quietly minimized. One paper exploring this was reportedly rejected 14 times. Reasons cited more than once. Too metaphysical. That's not mysticism, that's peer review. If you've been meditating, visualizing, affirming, trying to raise your vibration, and your life still feels strangely stuck, it may not be because you're doing it wrong. It may be because you're trying to change effects instead of state. You're pushing outcomes while ignoring the deeper layer where reality creation actually occurs. Pop spirituality taught you to focus on thoughts. Physics is pointing somewhere else. At the quantum level, reality doesn't respond to hope. It responds to coherence. This is where things get uncomfortable, because it challenges almost everything we were taught about cause and effect. The observer effect doesn't say thoughts magically create the world. It says perception participates in it. That participation happens below language, below belief inside the subconscious mind, where vibration and frequency are not metaphors, but measurable states of organization. And if you feel isolated right now, there's a reason. You feel alone because you're operating on a different frequency, not better, not superior, different. People going through a genuine spiritual awakening often report the same symptoms: heightened pattern recognition, emotional intensity, time distortion, and a growing sense that reality feels thinner, less solid, as if there's a hidden reality pressing just beneath the surface. Science doesn't deny this anymore. It just doesn't know how to explain it without breaking its own framework. And that's why this matters. I didn't ask a quantum computer whether consciousness exists. I asked something far more dangerous. What happens to reality when observation itself becomes part of the system? What came back wasn't an answer. It was a pattern. And if you stay with me, you're going to see why that pattern changes everything you think you know about reality and about yourself. Stay here. This isn't for everyone. Before this video ends, you'll recognize something from your own life. Don't just watch this. Notice what it triggers in you. In October 2019, physicist John Martinis and his team at Google's Quantum Eye Lab published results from the Sycamore processor that quietly stunned the field. The system didn't just compute faster, it behaved differently. While in quantum superposition, outcomes did not exist as facts, only as probabilities, until observation forced a collapse. But when researchers adjusted the system to simulate observation itself, something unexpected happened. The results stabilized around repeatable patterns instead of randomness. Information appeared to organize before matter followed. That moment marked where physics stopped giving clean answers. Because if observation shapes outcome, then quantum consciousness isn't a byproduct of reality. It's a participant in reality creation. That's when déjà vu stops feeling like memory failure and starts feeling like overlap. That's when synchronicities stop being coincidences and begin behaving like feedback. Your subconscious mind recognizes patterns in the quantum field before logic catches up. During spiritual awakening, perception widens, frequency shifts, and reality feels unstable because the internal state is changed first. This isn't imagination. It's coherence reorganizing energy and vibration. Nobel Prize winner Max Planck stated in 1931 that consciousness is fundamental, not matter. They don't teach this in school because a reality shaped by perception cannot be managed from the outside. If you felt moments where time bent or reality felt unreal, write exactly what you experienced. Details matter here. And this is where everything changes. In June 2002, physicist Anton Zeilinger, alongside Marcus Aspelmeyer, conducted experiments in Vienna demonstrating that quantum information behaves as if observation itself completes the physical process. The system did not yield stable outcomes until measurement occurred, even though all physical variables were already in place. This forced an uncomfortable admission within physics. Quantum systems act as if information and observation are fundamental, while matter is secondary. But when pressed further, physicists openly admitted they cannot define what observation actually is. That is where explanations stop. When researchers attempted to model consciousness within quantum systems, the machines did not provide answers. They reacted. Reaction implies participation, not calculation. And that's where this becomes personal. If reality responds to observation, then your experiences of synchronicities, déjà vu, and parallel feeling lives are not random. They are perception interacting with a hidden reality structured by probability. During spiritual awakening, consciousness expansion alters internal frequency first, and the quantum field mirrors that shift through timing, coincidence, and energy alignment. Your subconscious mind stabilizes patterns long before awareness labels them. This is quantum consciousness in motion. Nobel Prize winner Eugene Wigner stated in 1961 that it was impossible to formulate quantum mechanics without consciousness. They don't teach this in school because a reality shaped by perception cannot be standardized or controlled. If this feels familiar, describe what you experienced before you had words for it. That's how this signal connects. And here's where it gets stranger. In 2016, physicist David Deutsch at the University of Oxford revisited the implications of the many interacting worlds interpretation, expanding on work originally proposed decades earlier. His models showed that quantum outcomes do not emerge randomly, but stabilize into repeating probability structures unless an internal parameter changes. This was later echoed in simulations run in 2018 at Los Alamos National Laboratory, where quantum systems repeatedly collapsed into identical result sets despite external variation. The implication was unsettling. Change did not come from force, it came from state. And suddenly, the pattern looks familiar. Humans do the same thing. Emotional outcomes repeat, not because of desire, but because the subconscious mind keeps selecting the same internal configuration inside the quantum field. That's why synchronicities precede breakthroughs. That's why déjà vu feels like recognition instead of surprise. During spiritual awakening, consciousness expansion exposes the loop before it breaks it. Your frequency shifts internally, but reality lags, creating frustration instead of relief. This is not failure. It's physics mirroring identity. Quantum consciousness explains what spirituality couldn't without blame. Reality responds to vibration, not intention. Nobel Prize winner Werner Heisenberg stated in 1958 that what we observe is not nature itself, but nature exposed to our method of questioning. They don't teach this in school because a reality shaped by inner state cannot be managed through external control. If this moved blame away from you and into understanding, write what pattern you've seen repeat. someone else will recognize themselves. And this is where everything changes. And now you can feel it, not as an idea, but as a shift inside your body. We started with experiments, with equations and machines, and somehow ended up here, inside your own perception. Bell, Wheeler, Deutsch, superposition, collapse. Not as concepts to memorize, but as pressure building in awareness. Quantum consciousness was never just about particles behaving strangely. It was always a mirror. The quantum field does not exist somewhere far away. It responds through perception, through attention, through the silent configuration of the subconscious mind, selecting reality creation again and again. If reality has felt unfamiliar lately, that isn't malfunction. It's consciousness expansion, overtaking old programs. The unease you feel isn't fear. It's frequency shifting faster than your environment can stabilize. Feel that in your chest. That sensation is recognition, not anxiety. This is the part most people never hear. Reality does not happen to you. It happens through you. The observer effect was never confined to laboratories. It describes how energy organizes itself around awareness. You were never powerless. You were conditioned to forget participation was happening. Spiritual awakening is not gaining a new ability. It is remembering an original capacity that had to be suppressed so behavior could remain predictable. Sit with this without rushing to resolve it. If consciousness collapses reality, then time, separation, even death cannot mean what you are taught they meant, not in the way institutions require. That knowledge was never mainstream because awakened minds cannot be easily guided. You didn't find this video by accident. Alignment brought you here, and once seen, this cannot be unseen. Something inside you has shifted permanently. You are not alone. Thousands are waking simultaneously, sensing the same cracks in hidden reality. This space is not just a channel. It is a meeting point. If your heart is racing right now, that isn't adrenaline. It's coherence locking in. What happens next depends on a choice you make in the next few seconds. Anchor this moment consciously. Comment one phrase below as an activation, not for metrics. Write, "I am the observer," or "Consciousness creates," or "I see beyond the veil." A public declaration collapses intention and feeds a shared vibration that draws resonant mind. Breathe. Let this settle into the body, because here is the question that truly breaks physics. If quantum systems respond to observation, and observation itself remains undefined, why is the world racing to build quantum computers right now? What are we really trying to understand about reality, decision, and consciousness itself? That's exactly what the next video is about. Asterisk, asterisk. If this video didn't just inform you, but made you reflect, subscribe. This channel is for people who sense that reality is deeper than they were taught and are ready to understand why. Asterisk, asterisk.